coverage. Myself, J Mac with D Mac on the other side right there. As you guys know, double coverage with the McCourty twins. You can find us on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, all of that stuff. Make sure you go subscribe. And for you guys that are here tuned in, make sure you go get that FanCred app if you want to come on and get a chance to ask me and Dev a question. Go to the App Store, download FanCred. Once you get the app, you just got to sign up. Then you go to On Air. You'll see the podcast. Then you hit the green button to get in line, and you get a chance to come on and be face to face with me and Dev and ask your question. How you doing this Sunday evening?
I'm doing good, man. We might as well get into it. I thought today was an awesome stance, just from players kind of bonding together and making the messaging even stronger. If you guys didn't notice, if you went on Twitter or Instagram, you saw a lot of players with the hashtag We Want to Play, and really just urging the league office and the ownership to really kind of work with us and work this out. And I get everyone always talks about football players. They always talk about millions of dollars of this, financial part, that. But I think the most important thing for every player right now is our safety. And I don't care how much money you have. It doesn't matter if a family member gets sick or a kid gets sick or a grandparent or a mom or dad. Like, that's what guys care about right now, and what's important to guys. And I thought that was just awesome to see so many guys come together and really deliver a strong message.
Yeah, to me, what was key was just the cohesiveness of it all. And I think we don't always do a good job of doing that as players, using our own platforms to get a message out and show unity with any given topic. You know, usually whenever there's a thing with the CBA, we'll see guys, the media will post something what's going on with PA, NFL, and then we'll see guys tweet about it like, what the heck is this? What the heck is that? So I think we've done a really good job as players to make sure everybody's informed, make sure everybody's on the same page. And in this situation, we all want the same thing. So I think it was really good, like you just said, to challenge the league and like, hey, let's work this thing out. We all know that there's a global pandemic going on. We know that there's going to be risk involved, but let's minimize the risk as much as possible to make the game as safe as possible for us to be able to go back and play. Because, I mean, hey, this pandemic has been rough on everybody. And I think sports is a way that we can kind of ease the feelings of the stress and anxiety that everybody's going through. For us as players, we get a chance to get out there and do what we love. And for fans, they get to sit down and be able to watch sports that they've watched for so many years that they love, that brings people together, that changes the subject, gives people an opportunity to just relax and enjoy something and kind of forget about the situation that's at hand. So I'm looking forward to us hopefully being able to work this thing out as training camp is rolling around the corner. Time is dwindling, and it sucks because we knew this was coming, but it's crunch time. And as we know, per CBA stuff and per free agent deals, per franchise tags, per rook, anything that gets done is always comes down to the last minute when there's deadlines involved. So hopefully this is going to be the same way.
I see we just got a comment, the real LX men from YouTube. I don't get the play football but can't swap jerseys part. Also, do you guys read these comments? So obviously he knows we read these comments. Yeah, and and I think that's one of the things, like, you hear that, it doesn't make sense. Like, if we're going to play football, swapping jerseys, and honestly, even for us as players, like, the last thing we should care about swapping jerseys, and it's vice versa. Like, that's not a rule that matters, swapping jerseys or taking a picture after the game. That's not the issue. But I think, like Jay just talked about, training camps around the corner, and as a player, you just want to know there's some guidelines going in. I hear everybody talking about other people, they go to work and all of that, and I agree. Like, and a lot of guys want to go to work, but I think everyone who has gone back to work, they have gone back to work with some guidelines, some do's and don'ts, some things that are a lot different than what they used to be. So I think for us, we got to iron that out because we play a game that's different than some other professions where we're asked to be really right on top of each other for practice time, call it 3 hours. And you know, within that 3 hours at any given moment, it could be a tackling circuit. It can be a blocking circuit. It could be man press where you're right in another man's face and you have to compete. So at any given time, we put ourselves in a higher risk than we're used to because we don't usually have to talk about COVID. And you know, from last year, we've all dealt with, call it the flu and different things like that. and we've known how to adjust and handle that. But this right here is just so different of how to handle it. So it'll be very interesting to see how things move going forward, especially with some of these rookies having to report back early. Probably some of the guys that know the least about what's going on, having to be there is not a great feeling, I would say.
Yeah, and that's what's so crazy is because as time is dwindling, and for a while there, for a few days, you'd see different things where it's just like Houston's rookies have been told that they should report. And it's just like there was something that came out yesterday, like all players are going to report on the 28th and injured players on the 23rd and rookies on the 21st. And as players, we can give the perspective so everybody can understand. As players, that was for a lot of us, that was the first time we've seen these dates. You're seeing people in the media post things, but like from a player standpoint, we have no idea when our report date is. What time do we report? What's the process? When we get there, all 90 guys can't report at 1 o'clock to the stadium. So it's just like, hey, if we all report on the 28th, hey, is it alphabetical order? Is the first 15 guys reporting at this time? Hey, or do we got to go up the day before to get tested? Are we reporting that day? Are you getting tested, then go home? So it's a bunch of questions. And I think from a player standpoint, that's why you're sitting there. You're just like, man, like if I have these amount of questions right now, of course you don't feel totally secure saying, hey, I'm getting ready to walk in the building right now, and hey, we're on to training camp without an idea of like, hey, these are the things we're going to be doing. This is how things are going to be different. In this arena, things are going to be the same, but you can expect this when you walk in. So I think obviously we still have time for these things to be worked out and for it to all be figured out and for us to be ready to go. But it's a process, and I feel like you got to knock things out before you're able to walk in that building.
And I think this is a pretty interesting comment. Kimberly Wilson, I'm hearing some players are opting out. I haven't heard any definites on players opting out, but I think it's very interesting with the whole opt-out option for guys having to really make a decision and figure out what's best. And I would encourage guys as of right now not to even make a decision, but still let things play out before. And I know it's not an ideal situation where you would rather have more time to really think about it, knowing all of the details. But I think it is something that we will see throughout the league, guys opting out. And I think both of us have talked about it, though. You know, you don't know what you're going to do, but you want to have all the information before you start saying, I'm definitely doing this or I'm definitely doing that. And it'll be interesting in the next couple of days as more information comes out.
Well, without a doubt, you're going to expect guys opt out. You got to think about it. I remember at some point in this offseason when everything had gone to a doctor's office and the doctor saying his assistant was now working from home because she had an underlying issue that Corona could be very fatal to her if she came in contact with anyone. And you got to think about it, as players, we're no different. There are going to be guys that maybe have underlying health issues that is going to cause them to say, no matter what the guidelines and what the situation is, it's just going to be too dangerous. There's going to be guys who have kids, who have parents, who have aunts, uncles, immediate family members that are maybe in close vicinity to them that they can't avoid, that they're going to say, hey, like, this is too dangerous and I just can't go and risk even thinking about going to play football right now. So I have to stay home. I'm not going to the grocery store. I'm not doing certain things, and we're being extremely careful. So going to play football where it's impossible to be careful. And I know people have talked about, hey, you're going to be getting tested more than the regular population. It's possibly every day, every other day, which is amazing. But it's at the same time, I can go into the building. Me and you can walk in this morning and be tested, and it may take 24 hours before we get those results back. So we clear it. We're all in the building. Even if we're tested daily, that time it takes for us that we go home, somebody possibly goes out to eat, somebody possibly has a friend or a family member fly in from out of town coming to visit them. You don't know what it can take. And then the next day you show up to the building, you may get tested that day, but then you're not getting those results for another probably 20, 24 hours. And you're still in the building and you're still amongst everybody, which possibly if you're positive could be spreading germs. But I guess we can go on about this all day, but we got a special guest, my guy, Bernard Pollard, I play with in Tennessee, a Purdue Boilermaker, a Super Bowl champion, played for the Chiefs, for the Ravens before he made his way to Nashville, a leader, a guy that is well-respected, and a guy that talked a lot of trash in his playing days. Man, welcome to the show, BP.
What's up, man? I see, dude, y'all two suckers, y'all dark-skinned. I thought I was dark. Y'all jokers dark.
No,
Hey,
that's
you know what you told me? You know what you told me the last time I saw you at J Mac's wedding?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
you
yeah.
told me, he was like, man, you talking trash, but you can't talk to me till you get a Super Bowl ring. So I couldn't wait till the next time I saw you because now I got 3 of them things.
Yeah.
Off a show like that.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, it's good to talk behind that camera. When I see you, I'm punch you right in the face.
it's good to always see you and know that things haven't changed. You still always talking trash.
Always. Why should I change, bro? You look like you at the church right now. You good?
Hey, I'm good, man. Hey, I'm back in Foxborough. I don't got much on the walls. I don't got the pretty trophy room like you got, man.
Yeah. Hey, well, I got my ring first. Now you can say, you want to see my ring.
Those game balls got to be from like what, Kansas City, Houston. Ain't many game balls from Nashville. Y'all ain't win many games.
Hey, I got a couple where we beat the piss out of New England, but you good?
Hey, since you started there, a lot of people called you the Patriot Killer.
Yeah.
What did you think about that nickname? Was that something you wore proudly? You didn't think twice about? How did you feel about that nickname?
Man, look, I think you know me well enough, J Mac. I play the game hard, and so for me, it was I just played tough, and it was crazy that a lot of the injuries happened to the Patriots when I played them. But I think it's the team where the fan base is they're excited about what they do. They are excited about the product on the football field. But I think when you look at when I played New England, it was Tom Brady, it was Gronkowski, it was Wes Welker, it was Stephen Ridley was just on the team. But I think one of those things, man, it's just it's tough. And I mean, you look at it. I think a Super Bowl was lost because Gronkowski wasn't 100%. A season was lost because not so much lost, but the playoffs was missed when Matt Castle had to step in because Brady was down. But I think they're looking at two more Super Bowls potentially that the organization could have had.
No doubt about it. Now, with everything going on in 2020, if you were still playing, would you take part in the season this year with everything going on with the COVID-19?
I would. I think for me, I'm a entertainer. I love this game. I want to play this game, and I think I would potentially, almost for sure, go get a hotel. And I think I said this before on the podcast a week ago. I mean, I would separate from my family. And I mean, as much as I love my family, as much as I want to be around them, they know and understand that Daddy played football for a living. And for us as football players, we got a short window to play this game. So I think that's where that's the standpoint I'm coming from. Yes, I get it. This is serious. People have died. People are continuing to get sick from this. But I would definitely play, and perfectly we can keep everything right. But I think when you look at what the NFL is doing, we really don't know a lot of what they're trying to do. I know you guys know a little more, still being in the league and being a part of those meetings. I think for me, I would hope that they're doing what they can. You can't stop getting infected. You can't stop it. You can't stop getting sick. But I think what we can do is try to figure out a way to try to minimize as much as we can.
No doubt about it.
I got a cool question just from your time in the NFL. What was your favorite team to play for, and kind of why? Like, if you had to give fans a behind the scenes look at a team that you really enjoyed playing for.
My favorite team by far is Baltimore. I think the way my personality, I think my the way that I played, the way that I led, I was a perfect piece to that puzzle in Baltimore. Obviously, we lost to you guys in, I think it was 2011 or 2012, but then turned around and spanked that butt in 2000 and going to Super Bowl 2012 or whatever, 2013 season. But I fit there, and I tell a lot of people I was kind of coming out of that lockout when I was with the Texans in 2010 or 2011. I was a little leery because I thought my attitude, I thought the way that I played, the way that I approached the game would clash with the Aaron Reeds, the Ray Lewis, the Haloti Ngata's, the Terrell Suggs. But like I said, I was a perfect piece of that puzzle because, I mean, those dudes are just, it was a jungle in that locker room. It was, the way that I thought, the way that we fought, we fought for each other. We had each other's back at all times. And like I said, it couldn't have been any better, for me in that situation. That was probably the best team that I've been on.
Man, what would you say is your favorite NFL memory? And let's take out your Kansas City time during Hard Knocks. where you're doing splits in the locker room, you're twinkle toes and doing all that dancing. I know that when you got to Tennessee, you said that was one of your favorites, but matter of fact, explain to the people what was going on Hard Knocks. I guess that was when you first was in the league, so that had to be what, 2002 or something like that.
Bro, I ain't that old, bro. You serious, dog? Hey, keep on, sucker. That's why y'all suckers ain't got no hair. I got a little bit. I'm still rolling. But no, it was 2008. It was actually 2007. I'm sorry, going into my second year, and Hard Knocks was with us. And what a lot of people don't see, you don't see who's behind the camera. You don't see the person that's kind of leading everything that's going on. And so we had a couple women that were there, and so we all was laughing around. We came. We finished with like a meeting, and we had a little break, a little downtime or whatever. So we were clowning around the locker room. And so we all were kind of talking about, okay, well, what would you do if you weren't a football player? If football ended today, what would you go do? And so me, I'm a fool anyways. I was just like, I would definitely be a male stripper. I had to go strip and do what I got to do to provide for the family. So, we all, so I think somebody cut some music on. I said, no. So that's when I ended up going to the stereo and putting on a cut. And had to show them that, I'm saying, like I can make it happen. And I still can make it happen at 35 years old. I still can drop down, do the splits. I still can dance. I'm from the 260 and we dance. Yeah.
Go look that up. Hard Knocks 2007-8 season, Kansas City, Bernard Pollard dancing. Go check that out. You'll get a good laugh.
We got a good question. Somebody said, any tips for any young DBs? And I think that throws us right into the next part. I guess you could give some tips and then tell people what you're doing now and how you're kind of paying forward the knowledge and what you've experienced in the NFL to young DBs.
D, I think, when we look at the game of football, as I watch being done and retired, as I watch football now, I see, there's not as much communication. I see younger players that are out there having to play because the veterans are just, so many teams, they want those young players because one, it's less money. And then two, they're trying to get rid of those veteran guys from the squads or whatever. But, when I watch it, I just watch I'm a big communicator. I'm a big person and talking about things pre-snap and how do you figure out formations and how can we watch film, and J-Mac knows this, man, as far as staying and studying and understanding the pass game and what you're doing on third and fourth down and just things like that. So I think, that's one of the biggest things I see as I watch the game of football today. So for a lot of young DBs, I think my tip would be stay and watch film. Do what you need to do to be the best that you can be. This is a passing league. And so, you've got to understand route combination. You have to understand the cadence of the quarterback. You got to understand those linemen for the safeties, as far as what those hands look like when they're pass setting or run blocking. It's been a lot of pass setting because, like I said, we're dealing with a passing league, but understanding, where receivers line up, are they inverted? If a guy is out of position, if his feet not looking right, this guy might end up running the Speedo. I know I say Speedo a lot, and J-Mac was just like, what the crap is that? But for me, I just thinking, given those, especially as I train now, I train guys to understand all of that. I speak that verbiage as I train them so they understand when they go to a team, they're automatically talking football verbiage and not just saying, okay, well, he ran up there and went like that. Mm-hmm. Well, no, I don't know what that means. Mm-hmm. You need to talk about the route, articulate what's going on so everybody in the defensive room, your coaches understand all of that.
No doubt about it. And while you were playing, you already said Baltimore was the best team. You enjoyed that the most. Out of your teams, is there one team where you was just like, hey, if I had to do it over again, never would have wanted to play there, just wasn't the experience I was looking forward to? Because a lot of times we don't get a chance. That's kind of our locker room talk or text message. And I'm not telling you to air anybody out or anything like that. But was there any situation where just like, man, that was just a bad situation?
Basically like the Cleveland year.
For me, it was Cleveland. I say that all the time. Year 9 for me didn't exist. Like that was the year to get healthy. Like that was just, I would never do that again.
Right. I think this. I think, for me, one of the best things for me is the friendships and the camaraderie that I've built with you guys, still off that team. I talk with you and talk with Mike and maybe a couple other guys. But I think Tennessee would be the team that, I thought that it would be a little different. And I was a little pissed off because when I went to Tennessee, I was supposed to sign with Indianapolis. Well, Baltimore held my rights, so I wasn't able to. When they released me, they did not sign the papers and allow me to go ahead. And I had a flight to Indianapolis with Chuck Pagano. He was the head coach, and he was going to bring me in. He was my DB coach in Baltimore, and they held my rights. Me and John Harbaugh had a difference or whatever in opinions and everything else. So, they held my rights. So they ended up signing the kid on steroids, the safety off steroids, Landry. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Hey, bro, look, I ain't ashamed. If that sucker got if he want to see me, I see him and his brother. But nevertheless, bro, they ended up signing that sucker. It didn't pan out. But I ended up going to Tennessee, man. And I think, I had to sign with them because it was so late, especially for veteran guys. Yeah. When it's late in free agency period, you got to go with the team that, is showing you the interest. And for me, it was Tennessee. But when I got there, it was just a little different, man. The culture, and J Mac, not to talk about it or to, whatever, because you're a Super Bowl champion now, you understand what that winning culture looks like. But, when you're used to going home, vacations are planned in December. You're not going anywhere after the last game of the season. When it comes down to the facility, and I had to argue, I think you noticed, I had to argue for a steam room and a sauna when I was in Tennessee. They didn't understand, like they just wanted to go buy a corporate building and they just put an organization there. Well, no, you have to provide these guys with a way, that winning culture. So that steam room, that sauna, the right wet room, the right weight room. I walked into Tennessee, y'all had bands everywhere. And I'm looking, what the freak is that? How you getting stronger? How you, injury prevention and everything else. So, nothing against, them, but it was awful. I think they're trying to turn the corner now, but they're still pretty bad. So it'll be all right.
No doubt. And before we let you go, social media, you've been getting into NASCAR and all of that. What's that been like, and how did that start the interest and everything?
Well, I think, watching my wife was watching CNN, and Don Lemon was saying he was going to interview Bubba Wallace. And when he said Bubba, I'm like, okay, well, is that a brother or, a white dude named Bubba? So I end up, I look at the screen and Bubba Wallace was talking and I'm like, yo, I didn't know it was a black dude driving. And of course he's mixed, but, nevertheless, I see him as black. But so with that, I know for me for 35 years, man, I've never, being from Indiana, we have the Indy 500 and all that other stuff. I've never known about it. I've known NASCAR is around, but I didn't know about NASCAR. So I just always thought you just went around in a circle and, whoever wins, wins. There was no strategy. So for me, man, seeing that, I wanted to invest time. I wanted to just learn about it. And so as I got to watch races, and a lot of people say, well, you just watch because of Bubba Wallace. He sparked my interest. After that, I want to see the strategy. I want to see how guys are performing. I want to see and understand what makes these drivers, these crew chiefs, these spotters tick. And so, man, I just sat and watched, man, and just continued to watch. I watched every race from beginning to end. And, now I done changed my office around. I got rid of my desk and opened up my office and did some things different. I got a rig behind me, a racing simulator. I've been iRacing on that, man. I'm literally like I'm trying to figure out a nickname for myself. I don't know if I'm gonna be the Black Dale or if I'm I don't know what I'm gonna be. But I think at the end of the day, man, like I'm really enjoying this race. I just watched the race, and a young fellow won number 3 car. But I'm a Kevin Harvick dude, just because he's a 44-year-old veteran. But I don't have a favorite driver. I'm just enjoying the race. I'm enjoying the sport.
Man, that's dope, man. Cool. Well, we appreciate you taking the time. I know you got a lot of kids, married. So I know you're a busy guy like Devin, myself. For you guys, man, check him out. Anybody in that Nashville area, I got a chance when I went down to Nashville to train with BP. You're not going to find somebody with more energy than him. He's going to coach you up on every little thing and get you better. So, as always, I appreciate you, bro, and good luck with everything.
All right, bro, man. Thank y'all for having me. Y'all take it easy.
Yes, sir.
BP. That was awesome, man. Other than a lot of Patriots fans probably being very upset to see us interviewing BP. Obviously a great dude. You got to spend a lot more time with him.
Learned a lot from him. And I remember when he got to Tennessee, he was coming off a Super Bowl in Baltimore. And I think obviously for me now reaching that height, your expectations now once you get there, like every season is about getting back there, and your expectation level just rises. Like what you thought maybe was okay before no longer exists. And when he got there, he had that high expectation. I remember it was so funny because Munchak was our head coach at the time, and BP got there. When BP first got there,
No, I thought I was gonna have to get his ball for him.
There you go. When BP first got there, he was the guy. Like, guys, this is somebody that's won a Super Bowl. He knows what it takes. Like, he's the guy that we can learn from. And BP is so loud and opinionated that by the time we got to the end of the season, I'd be meeting with Muncha. He'd be like, man, we gotta figure out like how we can calm BP down and simmer him down. So he's somebody that was vocal. He's gonna let his opinion be known. Before we get any further for you guys, make sure FanCred app, go download the app, log in. Once you do all that, you get a chance on air button, the green button, you get a chance to come on air and be able to ask me and Dev any question that you like. And I already see there's been quite a few questions going as we were talking to BP. So let's see if we can knock some of those things out.
I can't stand him. I gotta go get that ball. You can handle it while I'm gone answering questions. The basketball game stopped because he lost the ball.
Yeah, you got to tell them you off dad duty when it's time for the podcast. How does a sport backed by that much money not have the answers for their employees? A question many people want answers to, but hey, it is what it is. Let's see. Alejandro, Patriots fan club, Costa Rica. Do you know anything about the Oakley helmets? Have you received and assessed them? Oh, wow, good question. No, we haven't received the Oakley helmets. From what I've read on Twitter from the beat reporters and different stuff, like you guys have probably seen, they said those are going to be available for us throughout training camp to be able to try out. So, I mean, I have every intention on trying it out. I have no idea what it's like, but something that is going to help with everything going on with the virus. I see no reason not to at least try it and see if it's something that works.
I'll be rocking it all training camp.
Yeah, for sure. So what we got here?
That has to be a classic moment right there. Me turning around, going, getting the basketball from under the couch.
I wasn't even watching you. I must have missed it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, though. Pretty cool, I must say.
We actually got Mason coming up next on the fan line. We got Mason. Marion says she's not feeling confident it'll be a season. We're hoping that that's not the case.
Mason, yo, mama, we made it.
What's up? What's up?
What's up? Hey, I want to real quick say to Bernard, hey, you got that W in 2012. Congratulations. But that stripper dance on Hard Knocks, that's a massive L, dude. No one wants to see that. No, you shouldn't have done that.
We killed him in the locker room when he first got to Tennessee about it.
That was brutal. But, hey, I appreciate it. I wanted to ask, you started the show with it. Was that a planned social media kind of outburst from, I don't want to call it, it's not an outburst, but, a stance from, like, significant players on the league where you were aware of this and then you just, all right, we got to make our voices heard. And then, all of a sudden 80, 100 people in the NFL start chiming in like, yeah, we want to play, but things got to change.
Yeah, man, it's been, I think we've been just trying to get this thing done, so many different strategies, everything. And you can see today, like, obviously you can't have that without some type of communication between guys. And it's just been, if you've been a player and you've been on any of these calls, they're like 2.5 hours sometimes of just questions, figuring things out. And like J-Max said earlier, I thought today was great just to see all the players unite. But a lot of these things that you've seen players talking about or just having players all united together, it all stemmed from a lot of guys on phone calls trying to figure out how they can help, how we can get the game as safe as possible for us to go out there and play. So it wasn't like one of those things where it was like, man, let's beg this guy to do. It's like it's just been everybody all involved. I just think that goes to show how serious this pandemic is. But it also shows how much guys want to play football. Like, guys love this. Guys have been training all offseason, finding ways, whether it's been in driveways, in parking lots. Guys have found out. And you don't do that, without the thought of, like, being able to get back and play. So guys that have already done a lot of physical and mental stuff to be prepared to play. We just want it to happen now. And I think we're trying to exhaust all options and make it as safe as possible for us and our families.
So real quick, following up on that, like you mentioned, it seems like majority of guys agree and are on the same page, which is great. I hope that's the case. And I don't want to say stick it to the NFL, but hey, like, listen, like, we're the ones that make you millions. Let's make things safe for us. But following up on that, how do you get guys? Because I don't know how many there's 2,000 plus people, if you include assistant coaches in the organization that play or on game day. So many people in different walks of life, different stages of their career, people who are convinced like, okay, maybe this is my one time to get this paycheck, then I'm out. How do you convince that guy with the same guy that's getting multi-millions to be on the same page for this cause? And like, listen, if need be, we got to hold out, so the NFL, just meets our, but, just our moral rights, to be safe and everything.
Man, that right there is a great question. And every 5-10 years when the CBA is about to come up and you hear all the rumblings, league versus players, and that question you just asked is the very reason why it's so hard as players to, in a sense, like you just said, stick it to the NFL. Because when you compare the two, you have NFL owners, 32 of them, who are very similar, billionaires, businessmen or women that kind of know the ways around maneuvering things to get their way, because obviously of where they've been. A lot of them, or not a lot of them, some of them have been born into that role, have been groomed into that role. And on the other side of it, like you said, we have 2,000 odd players who come from all walks of life, guys who grew up with absolutely nothing, who now have an opportunity to play, guys who are 10, 12-year veterans who have made $100 million playing football, and the undrafted guy who's just looking for his paycheck. And it's very hard to convince everybody because, hey, if I'm the guy who has a mom struggling, a grandmother who's maybe in bad health, and I need this paycheck, hey, I'm going to work. There's nothing you guys are going to say that's going to convince me not to go to work. So I think at the end of the day, though, our league is driven by superstars. It doesn't matter how many guys want to go to work if Lamar Jackson, Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, Saquon Barkley, if those guys aren't playing, it doesn't matter. People are going to be pissed off because everybody wants to see the stars of the league. So I think that's kind of where it starts and finishes for us as a league.
And I think the difference between now and the CBA is one thing every guy can relate to is health. Like, I don't care if you've been in the league forever, if you made millions, if you haven't made any, your health is the most important thing, because no matter what, if you have someone who needs money, if you're not healthy, or God forbid you take something back home to someone that needs money or that depends on you, you know what I mean? I think that's what really has gotten guys involved, because no money, no status, no anything competes with health. Our health is something at times we don't have control over, at times we do, but it's something that we have to value, because for everybody out there, we only get one life. I think we have to value it, and I think that's the one thing that binds us all together with this. It's not the financial part of what happens if games we can, like, all of that, it has to be figured out, and not to say it's not important, it is, but nothing's more important than the safety and health of not even every player, but like you just mentioned, every head coach, assistant coach, and the front office people that have, like, there's so many people that are in that building that want them to be healthy, and some of them probably do have underlying health issues. So it's all of the things we have to deal with when you talk about playing football in 2020.
Well, I appreciate you guys. Thanks for taking the time, and thanks for using your platform to reach out to the greater good as well. And I hope you get everything you deserve. So I appreciate you guys. Have a good night.
Thank you for stopping in, man.
Yeah, if y'all didn't get a chance, man, check us out. We did Monday Morning Quarterback last Sunday, where we talked about a lot of these issues and a lot of things players have to think about. And we focused on players, but like you just said, you could throw coaches in there too.
Yeah.
We got coaches that are in the mid to upper 60s, 70s, going out there and trying to get the job done. And, like, that is a little nerve-wracking, but at the end of the day, we need all of the proper guidelines. And then one of the biggest things we'll need to do is treat each other like family. And that means opposing teams, same teams, by everybody sticking to the plan, not being out, not doing stuff, but actually staying home and keeping everybody safe, because that's all we got.
Here we go. 2 questions. Will you guys be doing double coverage during training camp? Once, and if, I guess, training camp starts, we'll be all in on camp, focused there. Won't be able to get to the podcast. But
we'll be back.
We'll be back post-training camp. Here's a good one. Do you get fined? I'll let Dev answer this. Do you get fined if you don't show up for training camp?
I believe it is $40,000 a day if you don't show up for training camp.
So
that adds up in a hurry, one would say.
like you just said, there's been so much conversation about negotiating, but at the end of the day, once we signed our collective bargaining agreement, our CBA, the CBA states you report to training camp. I think it's 47 days before your first scheduled regular season game. So once teams send out, hey, Devin McCourty, your report date for training camp is July 28th. We will be reporting at such and such a clock. Your weight is whatever it is. You don't report that day, and you don't report the next day, and the next day, and the next day. You're contractually obligated to report to training camp. So it will be up to the team. They don't have to fine you, but they can, per our CBA, fine you. And like Dev said, I
think now with the new CBA, you have to get fined.
Yes.
Different than the last one.
Yeah, I don't know how high the number is, but it's extremely high. So most likely guys will be showing up.
We had a question. If training camp starts, you think it'll be open to the public? I do not think so.
Yeah.
I think it might already came out. How will your mindset change? Austin on Facebook, how will your mindset change without fans if no fans are allowed? It won't. You just you got to go play. I think that will be something that'd be more of an adjustment. Like no one knows how to handle playing without fans. You've been playing in front of fans your whole life. Like it's very rare. I mean, unless you just grew up in a town where like no one cared about football. But even like at least your mom and dad, like you usually always has somebody in the stand. So I think that will really be preparation. I'm sure coaches will try to think of something. But overall, I think each guy will have to adjust to that of playing with no fans and bringing your own energy, a phrase that you hear a lot when we go on the road. You'll probably hear a lot just all the time if the whole season's played with no fans. But it seems like a lot of teams have said, depending on what state rules are, they've already like taken down capacity like 20 or something percent. So
it'll be interesting. We got Frank coming up next on the fan line. Got Frank coming up next on the fan line. People talked about players streaming from the locker room. That won't be us. Frank, what's up, man?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good, man. Good to see you again.
Hey, likewise, man. Not often I get weekends off like this, so it's pretty cool. Hey, so you guys are trolling us pretty hard with the Bernard Pollard thing, bro. I mean,
that's one of J-Mac's. That's one of J-Mac's good friends, man.
Yeah, my guy, and like he said, he's an entertainer. So I got him on here. He's always fun to talk to.
He didn't entertain me for a couple of years, man. I mean, y'all should have Lane Johnson on and talk about fun too. Nah, I'm just kidding.
We got to build that connection. I don't know though. That'll be Patriots fans will love that one.
Hey man, so that brought me back to us getting terrorized by Anquan Bolden back in the day. Like, I remember a time when our secondary wasn't necessarily the strength of the team. Now
I remember those times too.
Yeah, man, we had Julian out there, and I mean now our secondary is really cool. So, I mean, we talked about it a little bit last weekend about when we got Aqib Talib. I think when he came to the team, he added a lot of I don't want to say swagger, but I feel like we became a tougher team when he came on the team, you know? And like Eric Blunt too, but I mean, who would you say over the years has contributed the most, whether players or coach, that changed our secondary to like be where it is today, you know? I guess it's more for Devin, but I mean J-Mac too, you know.
Yeah, I think we added different guys throughout my time that really wasn't. I think when I first got there, it was a lot different. Like I got there with some vets like Merriweather, James Sanders, and we actually played pretty well my rookie year. I think we were like first or second in the league in interceptions. Like, and then my second year, Brandon Merriweather was gone. James Sanders, like we kind of like started over. Our team was a lot different. And I think that year and the next year until we got to the league, we just didn't have a very good secondary. It didn't matter swag or anything. Like we just wasn't that good of a secondary. And I think when we added to league, then I moved to safety. I thought we really ended up, swagger. Now we ended up with some really good pieces in position with Talib, Alfonso Benner, Kyle Arrington, myself, Pat Chung, Steve Gregory. I thought we just ended up with a very good group. And then every year after that, we just continue to build on it. That same group kind of came back that next year. And then obviously in 2014, you throw Revis and you throw Browner in there. So Lee and
that
Browner,
Revis.
they were very similar to the edge they brought. I remember Browner's like first training camp practice, James Sanders caught the ball in the flat. And really in the secondary, you just would tag a hip or something. And B. Browner comes and lays James out. And everybody's like, oh. And right from there, like that is how he was. He set that kind of tone every time he was on the field. So I would say Talib and Browner definitely brought a certain edge to the group. And obviously Revis and like Gilly, they brought just straight animals. Like they're just elite players. But that edge type, I thought it was cool for myself getting to see Talib and Browner just up close and that edge that they brought every day in practice.
No, they're definitely, were fun players to watch on the team. And after Talib left, Browner didn't really play much after. But I remember one play where Browner hit some guy and then the ball went up in the air and I think he got called back. That was a crazy play too.
They called my pick six back.
Bro.
He tightened up. Clean
How is it that you only have one pick six, man? Like, I remember.
I haven't done a good job getting that ball across. I got some yards now.
You always get close, though. Like, if I remember, you had a couple almost. I don't know.
That was all about those fantasy points for the offense. I'm trying to take inside the 10.
Hey, always a team player. Hey, man. One more thing. Hightower and Chung. Any chance you guys can ever have them on? I mean, I feel like they're two of my other favorite players on the team, and like we rarely see them outside of like football stuff. I know they're pretty much like,
Here we go.
Guys, but they're awesome.
I'm gonna take Hightower right now.
Assuming we're not at training camp by next Sunday, those are going to be our targeted guests for next week. Chung and Hightower. Going to shoot them a text to get them two guys. Chung and Hightower. We're going to try to make that happen.
Awesome, man. Well, like always, continue success to y'all guys and hope you stay healthy. Until next time, man.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, man. Good to see you, bro.
Likewise. Take care.
All right. Yeah, that was a good question. I think when you talk about,
I just texted him. I said, everyone wants to see you on next Sunday. I'm texting you live from the podcast.
When you talk about improving position groups, like he said, bringing a certain mindset. And then at the end of the day, like you kind of mentioned to it, you add better players to a secondary, your secondary is going to be better. Like when you get an undrafted guy like Malcolm Butler who plays as well as he did, when you draft a guy like Logan Ryan, Deron Harmon, yourself that play as well as you guys did, when you get an undrafted guy like Jonathan Jones, J.C. Jackson, and you sign guys like Stephon Gilmore,
Jason McCourty.
Yeah, and you have guys like Patrick Chung and Devin McCourty who play a decade plus and still are one of the best duos in the entire league. That's what enables you to have a good position group and enables you to keep getting better every year. We got Zach from Westwood coming up next. Our guy Zach on the fan line. Somebody said they can DM Chung on IG because he follows him. That's what Zach said.
What's up, guys? How you guys doing tonight?
What's up, man? Doing good.
So I have a question that I have a follow-up. So First off, my question is, with training camp coming up, do you guys usually do like something different in the days or weeks prior to get yourself ready?
For me, I would say days prior is really just trying to maximize the family time. Now, this year, training camp will be a little bit different. I don't think we're going to be mandated to stay in hotels, so that'll be totally different. But I won't talk about this training camp because I don't really know what it consists of. But usually leading up to training camp, every year we're in a hotel. You don't get to see your family much. So just making sure I'm spending a ton of time with the family. For me, mentally, that helps prepare me because I know once we get to camp, it's all football. Practice every day, meetings all day. So I think for me, being away from it and focusing on the family allows me to go in free and ready to go from a mental standpoint.
Yeah, same thing with me. I know like maybe a day or 2, 3 days before, kind of take it easy a little bit on the training, run some striders, kind of get the body a little bit of rest before the huge impact. And you try to give yourself a little gap from what you have been doing to prepare. But then, just like J-Mac said, spending time with the family and really mentally getting in to try to go play your best football every year in training camp. I always feel like it's an opportunity to go earn your spot on the team. Like I know people always – you'll see all of these like roster breakdown 1.0, 2.0, 3.0 of the final roster, and they'll have these training camp locks. But especially as you get older, you want to try to perform your best each time you step on the field because time's ticking and you don't know when your last opportunity to play is going to be. So mentally, I try to really lock in on playing my best football.
Awesome. And then my follow-up is with training camp probably not going to be public this year. What are some ways you guys are going to be able to sneak me in? Listen, I've been going 10 years every day. I don't want to break my streak.
Dang, that's rough. Well, let us get there first and figure out the lay of the land right now because we don't even know the protocols. Give us a few days to get there and see how they're doing it, and we got to find a way to get you through one of them gates, man. You may just have to sit up in a tree or something, though.
Hey, I'm okay with that as long as I get in.
There you go. We got to figure out how to make it work, man.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
No
Have a great night.
Man. Appreciate
that. I'm breaking news. Let me see if this will work.
Okay.
Can you see that?
Anything for you, Dev.
Write it down. We got High on the podcast next week.
Assuming we start training camp.
No, next week we'll be fine. What's the date on next week?
No, man, I'm telling you.
What do you mean? Next week is the 26th.
Oh, yeah. It's the 26th. We should be good. There you go.
Yeah, we will be good. We'll call it the Training Camp Podcast.
No doubt.
We should have a lot of answers by then.
Cecilia on Facebook said, thank you for doing this every dang week. No problem. Appreciate you for tuning in. We got Jordan coming up next on the fan line. It took me a little while.
Michael Jordan?
Nah, just Jordan. I don't know if that's first or last name. I'm assuming first.
I think it's Michael Jordan. Not Mike.
My name is not Michael Jordan, by the way.
What's up, Jordan?
Not much, man. I got this on.
Oh, that's
they're making those already, huh?
Yeah, buddy.
That's clean.
Yeah, I got it for $15. Cheap as heck.
That's not bad at all. That's my type of T-shirt.
They sell everything on Amazon.
Yep, very true. That look like good material too.
I got a question though.
What's up?
Is there any explanation on the Malcolm Butler Super Bowl thing?
Man, I've probably answered this question so many times, and there has never been an explanation to exactly why he didn't play. And it was actually interesting because that next year we go on to win the Super Bowl, and we had some conversations just as players about just moving on and not allowing what happened the year before to be like the main topic of everything for that following year, because we kind of knew how that was just watching, like when we beat Seattle that year in 2014, of how hard that was on them just moving forward because how angry a lot of people were. And we really wanted to make sure as a team that we moved on. But still, I feel like that'll be like one of the Super Bowl anniversaries 15 years from now where that question gets answered. But I guess
there's going to be a 30 for 30.
I guess nobody will care about him, but I guess we'll see how that works itself out. But I was happy to see my guy Mal go down to Tennessee, sign that big contract.
Is he still in Tennessee?
Yep.
Okay. I didn't know if he was a free agent or in Tennessee still. Because I saw Logan Ryan's a free agent.
Yeah.
Well,
two of my favorite corners I've ever gotten a chance to play with.
So who was the hardest guy you ever had to go against in practice?
In practice?
For me, was the year I was in Cleveland in 2017 when Josh Gordon first came back when he was reinstated. He was the toughest guy to go against because at that point he was not eligible to play yet. So he was a scout team guy. So every week, at that time, I'd be matched up on whoever we were playing that week, the best receiver, and JG would play the best receiver in practice every week. So most of the time, by the time I got to the game on Sunday, the matchup throughout the week was harder than who I was going to be going against on Sunday.
What about you, Devin?
For me, it would definitely be Gronk, playing against Gronk and every day in practice. I would say, and I would really say him and Hernandez going against him. Them two would be beasts. When I played corner, Hernandez would come, and when we played the Dolphins, he would come be Brandon Marshall, and you try to cover him, and he'd grab you in the back of the jersey and try to slingshot himself forward on the deep balls. Could run great routes, was strong and physical, and then obviously Gronk, same way, physical. And then each year Gronk got better at route running, so he was so hard to cover in practice because he'd throw you, or he starts to be able to run up on your toes and break away. So those were two of the hardest guys I've ever had to cover in practice.
I'm going to end it with this. Gronk looks like he's lost about 20 pounds.
He does. He looks slim and trim. I guess some of that has to do too with that Tampa sun. That's no joke being out there training. So it'll be good to see my guy back on the field. And hopefully in 21 we'll get an opportunity to play against those guys. Have some fun.
No doubt about it.
Don't they come to Foxborough?
I don't know for sure. I think someone's told me that. Right. It'd be cool to give them the type of ceremony they deserve too, and then hopefully beat up on them.
Hopefully Brady throws 3 picks that game.
hopefully at least one of them to me.
There you go.
Maybe both of you guys will get pick 6 that game.
Right.
Appreciate you, man.
Thanks for having me.
No, definitely. And somebody said they thought Malcolm went to the Seahawks and left Tennessee. I didn't see that news.
Yeah, no, I haven't been on social media today, so I don't know if that broke today. But as far as I know, that is not the case. What you got? What you got left?
I'm mad that I wanted to go get ice cream today, but the time snuck up on us for National Ice Cream Day.
That's another. I said to my wife today, like, who creates these national days? I feel like every time I turn around, it's like National Dog Day, National. I feel like there's multiple National Siblings Day within a year. Like it's like National Vegetable Day. Now, who comes up with these things? I mean, I don't get it. Can we do like National like Twin Day?
There is a Twin Day
that exists, huh?
Yeah.
Well, on that day we should release a podcast and maybe everybody should watch it because it's Twin Day or something.
Or we just have a bunch of twins on. That'd be.
We got Ben coming up next on the fan line.
August. Hold on. Takes place. It's a whole weekend. August 7th to the 9th.
Where?
I think in Ohio.
Ben, what's up, man?
Not much. Just wanted to check in, see how you guys were doing. Did you guys ever get the chance to see the round table with Odell Beckham, Cam Newton, Victor Cruz? That was released this past week.
Nah, I saw like a snippet from somebody had sent me with Cam talking, but that was it. I didn't see the entire thing.
My favorite part was Cam was like, "You're getting a ticked off dog."
Yeah, I saw that part.
On me. That team passed on me.
Yeah, man. It's I think that's the fun part about just being athletes. Like sometimes people don't realize like guys are human. Like you're just like everybody else. So he's fueled, he's ready to go. That's what it seems like. So all of us are the same. I think if anybody, if you're working at a job and they decide to let you go, you're gonna be pissed off. You're gonna want to prove people wrong. So I think it's the same situation. But I think for fans, nothing's cooler than turning on and seeing a round table and you got Cam Newton, Odell Beckham, Victor Cruz, like 3 other premier players when Victor Cruz was playing, obviously. But all 3 of those guys at a time were, the dominant guy at their position. And I think that's cool as a fan because I know even as a competitor and I play against these guys, to watch those guys just talk about different incidents and talk about their past and how they got to where they are now. I think that's pretty cool. So I know a lot of people probably thoroughly enjoyed that.
No doubt.
And question for Dev. Dev, did you get the chance to sack Tom at all during a practice in your career?
Sack him? No, you don't. I mean, you call it a sack, but whenever I got close, whenever I had a chance to come next to Tom, if this was Tom, I was probably about 5 yards away, and I just run full speed and yell sack. Never get close to Tom.
Quarterback, and when it's Tom, you don't even come close.
Extra 4 yards. I'm making sure you stay away.
You'll get cut. You do something like that.
Then my next question was for both of you. I know the tweets came out today regarding the player safety and causes that. Now, do you think the coaches are going to say other stuff like put that online as well?
I'm not sure what the coaches will do. I'm sure for them as well, like Dev said earlier, they want everything to be as safe as possible as well, because second to the players actually being out there tackling, blocking, and competing against each other, coaches are right out there as well. They're on the sideline right in the midst of, and that's not only coaches, that's trainers, that's equipment people, that's football operations people. There are a lot of people that are going to be in close proximity throughout all of this. So everybody that enters our building for a football standpoint during the course of the season, I think everybody's very concerned and wanting to know exactly how everything's going to transpire. I think as players, we just have a unique thing because we all have the following and the platform to be able to come out with one message. For coaches, it's a little different because right now it's not like there are media sessions, there's not press conferences. So I think they're kind of behind the scenes trying to work through this thing and figure it all out.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate you, Ben. Check.
Yeah, appreciate you. We had someone earlier ask, what do we think about Stidham? Do we think he has what it takes? I think throughout our podcast, since we've started this during the quarantine, we've talked at length of how much we think Stiddy is a good player, how he works his butt off, how competitive he is, how much he grew last year. I think at this point, we just need to have training camp so everybody can compete and we can get out there. And that's not only our quarterback position, that's everybody on the team. Like Dev said, him going into his 11th year here in New England, he still feels the need to prove himself every year and go out and earn his position. And it's no different from any other player on the roster.
A couple more questions, Greg, on YouTube. Do you think this is the most competitive AFC you've played in? It has a chance to be. I mean, we haven't played in it yet. It's a lot of good football teams in AFC. But every year, no year is easy to make the AFC Championship or to a Super Bowl. So, but I'd be lying if I said this wasn't a really competitive AFC. Where I think for us as a team, we're in it just trying to survive. We're going to be out there competing our butts off and seeing where we rank. But there's a lot of good football teams, and I think that's exciting to know you're going to have an opportunity to see how you stack up against these teams when you get the opportunity. So I'm excited to see how it all turns out.
Yeah, definitely, and I think that's always the way it is. You know what I mean? Like you said, you're always competing. And it's always going to be that way. And you always, no matter what, like Bernard came on, he talked about what it was like. And I know you can remember competing against those Baltimore Ravens teams. And like my guy Frank said, and he talked about Anquan Bolden, like there's always players and teams throughout the course of your career where it was just like, man, I remember how much of a dogfight these games were and all of that. So, to end the show, we got a few more minutes. We got one more guest on the fan line. We're going to bring Marcus on. We got a few more minutes before we jump off this thing. So let's bring Marcus on to close out this thing.
All right.
What's up, Marcus? We got you to close out the show.
I love it. You guys are awesome.
Appreciate you, man.
This it's gonna be differently than the way you were saying, but the training camp. What are the expectations for Cam Newton for when it comes to training camp?
I think the expectations for him is going to be like the 89 other guys that show up for training camp. For the new guys, it's going to be getting in there, learning the system. And I think we're all going to be doing that. We're going to be learning. We're going to be doing virtual meetings probably at some point. Then once we finish that learning part and go through our meetings, the next thing is going out there on that practice field and competing. And for him, it's competing to be the best player he can be. For us as defenders, when we're going against him, we're competing to make it miserable for him. So I think that's what training camp is all about as a team, but offense and defense, special teams, everybody just kind of getting after each other so we can make our team the best we can. So by the time those games roll around, we're putting the best product we possibly can on the football field.
Yeah, I agree.
Saying that question, I was like, he's so motivated with all his motivations for the upcoming, this coming season.
Mm-hmm.
I feel the third way as you guys are saying about Cam Newton, and also the other question I also have, who do you think will be the starting job for the starting quarterback? Because I'm really thinking about Cam Newton, because I don't know about Jarrett Stidham. So what do you think about which will start? I mean, because I'm with Superman or Stidham. Well, what do you think about that?
Man, too bad we can't get Josh McDaniels on here to tell everybody who. But no, I think we got to let it play out. Like for me, I don't have a pick of which guy, and honestly, I try not to even think about it because I think I love that part of training camp to be able to compete. I've been a part of secondaries where we've had open positions where guys have competed, and those are some of the training camps where you walked away and it was like, man, we left that camp feeling like we got 4 safeties who can now start because of how well everybody played, and that just makes your team better. So I'm hoping we walk out of training camp feeling like, man, there's 3 guys in that quarterback room that no one would have a problem with if they went out there and led us on the field. And I think that's the best for everybody. So I'm excited to see how it works out. We got some veterans and some young guys that all go out there and compete.
Saying that, Cam Newton is very motivated for all his motivations. So I'm on that part of the other side with Cam Newton. I mean, because I checked out Stidham's highlights. He's good, but having a former MVP in Cam Newton that brings to the team, I was just saying all of that, and so, I just had to ask those few questions. I just felt like kind of important.
Those are some good questions.
Appreciate you, man. Those are some good questions, man. It's good to see you, bro.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you, homie.
Yes, yes, sir, man. We'll see you next week.
See this right here? This is from Tim Wright.
Okay, Rutgers brought up.
There you go, man. That's dope.
Yeah. I think that's it, really, because it's not my thing about it. So,
hey, make sure you check in next week. We got I text Hightower. Hightower's coming on. He's coming on next week.
Stay healthy, and we'll see you next week, man.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Here you go. This is before we get out of here. I haven't seen. There's so many people ask the same question. Austin Johnson said best experience with Coach B. Then someone said I read an article today. The past players and coaches were saying Belichick is actually really funny in a football setting. Do you guys agree? And then can you guys tell us a funny Belichick story that not many fans would know? Brandon and Sarah both said that on Facebook. So
I think obviously what you heard from past players and coaches is true. Bill is definitely funny once he gets rolling with the jokes and the kind of dry sense of humor. No Belichick story, but I can't wait till we get back in this building and we can all talk about this $5 foot-long Subway commercial set that we all saw Bill on. And he had on his same coaching sneakers from the facility when you see. So I am very excited to see. I'm going to go out on a limb and say Jules probably brings it up first. But I'm excited to see, are we going to get free Subway for the year? Like, is that going to be what happens? Like, do we get that? Subway makes a great chocolate chip cookie, as I believe when I used to eat there all the time. So I'm excited to see what comes of this. Like, was he selfish and just worked out a deal just for himself? Or did he put the team first and bring Subway to everybody? So we'll see how it works out. Maybe COVID meals and Subway for now on. I don't know. We'll talk to Ted. We'll talk to Bill and get that figured out. So,
is that your message for today? Because that was a great way for me to go ahead and end this thing. I don't know if you had something else, but if not,
I mean, that is a great way to end it. But I do have, you know what I mean. I just think I think with everything going on, I know probably a lot of people have spent a lot of time on hard decisions and decision making, and whatever you rely on for those decisions. If you meditate, if you pray, just to sometimes realize a decision that you think you're gonna make and you're at peace and you get this sense of peace. Sometimes that is the sign that you have been given. Whatever it is you look to, that might be a sign that you do have a feeling of peace making that decision and choosing option A or B or whatever it is that you're deciding to do. And you might want this aha moment where someone comes down from the sky or something happens that makes the decision seem like it's very easy. But sometimes don't miss the signs of peace, of just being very at peace with whatever you're deciding. Jason and myself talk about these things all the time. Of trying to make tough decisions, and we'll have to make one of those coming up. So just always remember that when you get that just good feeling about something, it usually means you're doing the right thing. So do it and let all reservations go and dive fully in. As Bill says, don't put your toe in the water. Jump in there and just get going.
No doubt about it. What a way to end it, man. As you guys know, double coverage with the McCourty twins, YouTube, Spotify, all of those things, iTunes. You can find us, double coverage with the McCourty twins. Make sure you go and subscribe. And as always, get on that Fan Credit app next week, and you'll get a chance to be face to face with Devin and myself, and you get a chance to ask your question. So enjoyed you guys this evening.
Oh, and I want to say big shout out to my man Mickey and Helen and Claudia out in Orlando. Those are good people. So I just seen Mickey jumped on. So just wanted to give a big shout out from Facebook. Our good people, they like family to us.
No doubt about it. So see you guys next week. Hopefully everything with training camp gets ironed out. And football. So we shall see. We're rooting for that. And like Dev said, hashtag we want to play. See you guys next week.
Good ending. Good ending.